It could be peanut. Let's see what's in it here. There's a beer that'll turn into pee later. And a bird. This is the wrong species of bird. It's supposed to be a duck, but I couldn't find a duck on short notice. So I call this story A Duck and a Beer. Let's crack the beer. That's good. So this story has a double flashback, and if that's confusing, okay. The first flashback, go back like, 10 or 15 years. I'm working at AIG Insurance. I was a workshop claims adjuster. And my boss, Donna, she's the team leader. She's taking a tour group around, and she's like, this is Steve Pratt. He handles all our, complicated cases because he's got like 30 years experience. And then Charles Loper, he speaks French, so he handles our international cases. We had like Cirque du Soleil or something, so he would have to talk to these French people. And she says, this is Jim, and he handles any case for any job that no one's ever had before because he's had every job. And which is kind of true. I had like lots of jobs growing up because I'd always get fired or just get sick of a job, something like that. Landscaper, I drove a truck, I was a mover once, and all sorts of things. And so someone in the tour group goes, so what's the strangest job you ever had? And I just blurted out, I threw ducks in the air to get shot out of the air at a retriever convention. I was a duck tosser is what I called it. And everyone's like, what? What's that? So at lunch, I guess maybe one of the coworkers like, what's a duck tosser? So I have to explain what it is. So now we have to flash back to Westchester University, another 10 or 15 years. And I was sitting on the front porch with my fraternity guys, like on a Saturday, and we're drinking some beer, just like now. And this guy pulls up in a really fancy car, like a Jaguar or something, and we go to Westchester, so we could just tell he had money, because he looked like he was better off than us. And he says, you guys want to make some money? I need about 5 or 6 guys to make some money tomorrow out in the country, and you guys can drink beer and stuff. And we're like, how much does it pay? He's like, $10 an hour, which back then, that's like $20 an hour now, because the minimum wage is like $3 an hour or something like that. So like, wow, that's good money, and we get to drink all day? He's like, yeah. I'm like, awesome. So we load up the car the next day. I think one of us followed him, or some of us got in his car. We get out to this beautiful field out in the middle of Pennsylvania somewhere. It looks like Radnor Hunt or something like that. There's all these rich people, and it's a retriever convention. So what we have to do is we each get put at a little station. I thought we were going to hang out with each other, but we get put at one station. Someone gets put at another station. Like Greg DiGiulio's at this one station. He's throwing up dead birds in the air, and he's shooting off like a shotgun with blanks in it, because they've been killing birds all weekend, so they got piles of them. He's throwing up like dead pheasants, And yeah, I know it's not an animal rights story, but there is one slight happy ending to the whole thing. So he's doing that, and what happens is the dogs, they look at you, you're like 100 yards away, they see a bird go up in the air, they hear a gunshot, they mark that bird. Then someone else does another bird, they mark that one, and then they have to retrieve that one, bring it back, retrieve that one, and bring it back, And for the younger dogs, it's only 2, the older dogs have to do 3. So I get my station, they give me a big box of ducks. It's like a crate with the little dowels in it, it's like a little crate, like a pallet of ducks with a cage over it, And the ducks are all there, they're quacking like, quack, 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 quack. They're like pretty noisy, they're like, what's going on? We're ducks, quack, 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 quack. So the 2 guys with shotguns, there's a guy shotgun right here and a guy shotgun right here. They go, reach in and grab a duck, and someone had already been doing that earlier. I was just taking over a station. And they said, and just throw it up in the air in front of us. So I get the first duck, and all the ducks are quacking. We're like, quack, 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 quack. And I throw it up in the air, kind of lazy, and it goes straight up in the air. And these 2 guys, they're like looking all over, like, boom! They shoot this duck out of the air, and it hits down right in front of me. And that wasn't a good throw because they wanted it like 20 yards out. Like, oh, no, that's no good. And then the guy with the dog, he's getting pissed off, So they said, that dog has to go to the end of the line because it was a bad throw or something like that. So they said, get another duck. And all the ducks, right when I throw the duck out in the air and the first one gets shot out of the air, they're like, quack, quack, quack. And as soon as that duck got shot, like, boom, they're all like, real quiet. And they're like, holy shit. You see what happened to Harold? He just got shot out of the fucking air, man. They're looking at him and they're all like terrified. So I reach in to get the next duck, and all the bigger ducks are like kicking this little duck towards me. He's like, oh God, this is my worst day ever. So I reach in there, and what you have to do is to throw a duck. A lot of you probably don't know this. You're like, how do you throw a duck in the air? You take its wings and you fold it back behind its back, kind of like this, and then you grab it right in the middle of the back right here, and you kind of bowl them out into the space there. So the two guys with the shotgun, they're like, the first duck, you didn't throw it hard enough. Could you please, throw this one as hard as you can, they said, right? So I'm wearing a little smock, I got my arms hanging out, and I have like skinny forearms, and I look like I'm 150 pounds, but I'm slightly heavier because, as she mentioned, I did win man of the match in rugby, so they said, throw it as hard as you can, and at this time I could throw a football like 60 yards, So I don't think they estimated how athletic I was. I grabbed the second duck, the little one, and this one I'm just going to throw as hard as I can. I wind up and I just whip this thing as hard as I can. And the duck, to his credit, I gave him a nickname, Mallard Fillmore. To Mallard's, thank you, Mallard's credit, not our 17th president, Millard Fillmore. He goes with the throw and he tucks in there, Yes, which one was he? 13. Great, I'm a political science major in the audience. I sure that wouldn't happen. I was poli-sci at Westchester, that's why I said 17. So I throw this duck as hard as I can, and he's smart. He goes with the tuck and he just leans in, like he just tucks in, doesn't bring his wings out, and he goes as far as he can until he feels like the throw is wearing out. Then he just flaps and makes a hard right, but he's no more than 6 yards off the turf there, And he makes a hard right. The two guys with shotguns are like, bang, 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 and they can't get him. He gets out of the range, and he flies off into the trees, and he just parks himself there, and he's like quacking all day as I throw the other ducks up in the air, and none of them make it. He's like giving them instructions like, tuck, no, go with it, no, make it right. And all day long I'm throwing ducks up, and none of them make it. But Mallard sits there all day quacking, and at the end of the day, I think he just flew off or something like that. But I'd like to think that maybe some relatives or Mallard are still out there, like his grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Maybe they talk about me, the guy that threw him, that gave him his life, So this is to Mallard Fillmore. Thank you.